Our next session focuses on the intersection between FTD research and FTD advocacy. Please welcome AFTD's CEO, Susan Dickinson.
I just need a reason. I just need to know what's on your mind. Tell me what you need.
Good morning. How's everybody doing today? Okay, so far? I want to give a special thank you to Dr. Mazdu and Dr. Pasquale, as well as our own Dr. Niehoff. We work obviously with researchers around the year. We work a lot to recruit more researchers to the space. And I think they need to know just how much hope that they give everybody in this room. We are seeing progress. It's never fast enough, of course, but it's so invigorating and really helpful to hear every year that they are moving the needle forward and we're understanding more and more about this disease. And we are seeing more and more clinical trials, which of course is what we all want, bringing us closer to the day when we'll have actually an approval from the FDA. I am very pleased to be up here this morning. I'm going to be introducing these two ladies who are relative newcomers to our team and really introduce two very exciting new initiatives. And I don't have, whoops, sorry, we're very pleased to introduce to you today. Many of you know AFTD was founded in 2002 by a caregiver named Helen Ann Comstock. She was very quickly joined by a group of other wonderful family members who were really committed to the idea that the next group of families, there needed to be more for them than those families had faced. They started with the vision of creating a world with compassionate care, effective support, and a future free of FTD. This is still the vision under which my team and I operate every day. And from the start, they identified these 5 mission pillars you see on the screen: support, research, awareness, education, and advocacy. From the start, we all also understood that being a rare disease, this needed to be all hands on deck. And one of the strategies we've always pursued is creating programs, creating initiatives, creating tools where we could engage the whole community in being part of the team. This is the marathon, not a sprint, and we need a big team to spread awareness and make sure the world knows that not all dementia is Alzheimer's, and that there need to be special treatments and special care strategies for people who are younger and people who experience the varied symptoms that we see in the different kinds of FTD, which are very different than those experienced in Alzheimer's. I know I'm not telling anyone in this room something you don't already know very well. So from the start, we relied on you, our community, to help us deliver help and hope to people around the country. Our support group leaders, people holding grassroots fundraisers, more recently, people engaging in research to share their story and help the companies that are running trials understand what the challenges are and how they can support more engagement and help them recruit for people who want to participate in those trials. And so I'm really pleased today to introduce 2 new ways that we're empowering all of you to help us advance this mission toward ending FTD. The first one is great expansion in our advocacy activities. You heard Senator Hinchey allude to these a little bit earlier. I'll be pleased to introduce Meghan Buzby, who is AFTD's first Director of Advocacy and Volunteer Engagement. And Meghan has been leading the charge with her staff of 1. They're doing a great job to expand our advocacy efforts into the states, hopefully, help us understand more what's happening at the federal level, what we can leverage to advance our cause, and developing tools and mechanisms, which she'll tell you about to help you engage and advance these efforts. But first, I'm going to introduce you to Dr. Carrie Milliard. Oh, you're not a doctor. I just gave you a... There you go.
I got an upgrade.
There you go. Carrie has been director of the FTD Disorders Registry for almost a year. Is that right? Almost a year. Many of you have probably heard of the registry already. We founded it with our wonderful partners at the Bluefield Project to Cure FTD in about 2016. I know that 6,000 people from our community have already joined, and it's a very key tool a place where we aim to collect data directly from all of you, whether you're people diagnosed, whether you're immediate family members, whether you're care partners, even professionals working with our families. It's a place where you can go and enter your data about your experience. And again, it's something that we can use to attract more researchers to the field, to inform them about what this disease is like to live with, and about the most cumbersome symptoms and things like that. I would add that both Bluefield and AFTD have committed to this registry throughout the years. We have a very, very strong belief that the community should own its own data. We should control how it's used. We should be able to make sure that it is here over the decades. You know, companies is wonderful. We love partnering with them, and we hope that every single one is successful in getting their treatment approved at the FDA. But we need to make sure that the data from our families is here throughout longitudinally, and we can keep collecting it all in one place. I would add, you'll hear more from Carrie on this, but what she's going to announce is she and her team have been working over the past year to build a new platform that has much richer functionality, and it's also going to be able us to conduct research internationally. So without further ado, I will turn it over to the experts, and here is Carrie Milliard.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Susan, for the introduction, and thank you to the AFTD for inviting me here today for my very first AFTD education conference. I have learned so much since I started here in July, and by connecting with many of you in this audience, I have seen firsthand the unwavering dedication that you all have for advancing awareness, advocacy, and research. As Susan said, over the last year, the registry team has been working hard to build a new platform with even more tools and resources that can help push the needle forward in all of these arenas. I'm really excited to show you some of the features in the registry today and invite you all to be some of the first participants to join the registry and help advance the science. The term registry can be used to describe a broad range of initiatives, from the state-mandated diagnosis reporting that Senator Hinchey had described earlier, to clinic-based medical data collection, to participant reported outcomes where insights are gathered directly from the people who are living that experience. Registries are a powerful tool in facilitating research in a number of ways. Registries can connect researchers with the large data sets they need to drive research forward for a particular condition. Registries can also help track changes in medical history, diagnoses, and lived experience over time. And they can provide insights to guide clinical trial development and push forward the development of new interventions and therapies. In the rare disease space, registries are particularly important, especially in conditions as heterogeneous as FTD disorders. With the varied presentation and symptoms across these disorders, it's vital that we understand the lived experience and needs of each group impacted by these disorders. The FTD Disorders Registry is a direct-to-participant registry that has over 6,000 registered users. Many of these users have also enrolled in the registry research study and shared their lived experience, which has then guided the research and clinical trials that are ongoing now and have brought us to this very hopeful time in FTD research. The FTD Disorders mission is to advance research in the development of diagnostics and therapeutics for all types of FTD disorders. We know that it's not always feasible for families to participate in clinical trials, and the registry's research study gives eligible individuals the opportunity to share that lived experience and have your voice be amplified. The registry also works to connect this community with external research opportunities that are seeking participants, so you can find the ones that are right for you. We also want to continue to amplify your voice and get your data in the hands of researchers so that they can design even more trials, and we will get to the point where there is a trial for everyone. I want to emphasize what Susan said. The registry data is owned and controlled by the FTD Disorders Registry for the use of this community and our partners to drive FTD disorders research forward. Any information that is collected through the registry's research study will be shared with researchers, but will never contain any of your identifying information. Any adult in the world is welcome to join the FTD Disorders Registry. If you join the registry, you'll have access to a personalized dashboard of information, resources, and external research studies, and you'll be able to find what you want most because it'll be tailored to you. Additionally, in the US and Canada, individuals diagnosed with an FTD disorder, legally authorized representatives, current and former care partners and caregivers, and biological family members can enroll in the registry research study and share their lived experience. Joining the registry lets you be counted and take an active role in the fight against FTD disorders. By sharing how FTD has impacted you and contributing to research, you're providing valuable information for researchers that may lead to advancements in diagnosis, treatment, and care. The registry also aims to tailor information to the FTD community, and within the registry portal, like I said, you will have access to updated clinical trial information, resources, articles, and where to find the most up-to-date information. So, as I said, anybody who joins the registry will have access to a personalized dashboard where you can see registry statistics as well as invite other people to join the registry and get a view of all the other features that are within your portal. The Information for You page has customized, automated customization where the resources that you are most interested in will appear on your dashboard. And this is, when you sign up for your account, you'll be able to select those interests so that we can get you to the resources that mean the most to you. You can also use the filtering function to make your search more granular or broaden it out and see the whole range of resources that are available. Our external research studies page will allow you to connect and find clinical trials, research studies that are of interest to you. You can use the filters to see all the studies that are available. And in the coming weeks, our team, if you fill out your interests in your profile, will push the most relevant studies to your dashboard. An exciting feature that's also coming in a few weeks is automated customization of the external researcher page. So you, if you fill out your interests, automatically, as soon as a trial is available for one of those interests, it will populate on your page. The registry team will continue to push out notices when new trials are available so that you can stay up to date at all times. The research activities page is where you can find actionable items that are available for you. For the people that are enrolled in the registry research study, this is where you're going to access surveys that will let you tell your lived experience and be able to update it over time. For those that feel comfortable doing so, the new registry platform allows you to share even more data. You'll be able to link to your medical records, upload genetic testing results or autopsy reports. And by connecting this clinical information with your reported lived experience, we can gain even more insights on FTD disorders, diagnoses, risk factors, and genetic factors that may influence the development and progression of this disorder. And just as a reminder, any information you share with the FTD Disorders Registry will always be de-identified before researchers use it for analysis. Once you join the registry, I encourage you to stay engaged and come back frequently. We are going to be optimizing this platform and adding new features in the year to come. We are going to expand our language translation and offer new geographic regions eligibility in the registry research study. Another exciting milestone that we will hit soon is the launch of our researcher portal. And this is going to allow researchers to be able to browse high-level de-identified data to see if we have what they need to run a trial, to design a trial, to answer their research questions. And it's going to be streamlined in one place so that they can make data set requests right within the portal and access the data quickly. And now I'd like to officially invite all of you to join the registry. For past participants who are attending today, you should have received an email this morning inviting you into the portal and explaining some of the ways that you can interact and get into your account. For those who are past participants, your email has been securely migrated over to the system already, so you don't have to follow the full sign-up pathway. You will sign in, reset your password, and then be taken straight to your dashboard. Since you didn't go through the the registration sign-up process fully, I do encourage you to go into your profile and make sure that you select your interests so that we can use that automated customization that I described earlier. Most of our registry team is on site today, so we are happy to have you come to the booth, learn more about the registry, ask questions, and we can assist you with enrollment. In research, in advocacy, numbers have power. Join the registry. Help us advance the science. Thank you for your time today. I'm going to turn it over to Meghan.
Great job. Is this the clicker? Okay. Hi, hello, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are joining us virtually. It's great to be here with you. There we go. And thank you to Carrie for that great presentation and to Susan for the wonderful introduction. As shared, I am Meghan Buzby. I am the Director of Advocacy and Volunteer Engagement here at AFTD, which is a new role to AFTD and one that I've only been filling for 6 months. So it's great to be here with you all and meet many of you, and I hope that I'll get to meet many more of you as we continue to build out our advocacy pillar. I'm coming to you, I guess, from the migraine community and the multiple myeloma community, where I advocated with and for both of those disease areas for years and really experienced firsthand that you can effect change and make a difference through advocacy. And advocacy is this sort of somewhat elusive term, I would say, right? It can be used to describe many different things. What we're specifically focused on here today is what we call policy advocacy or legislative advocacy. And why do we participate in that type of advocacy, and why are we creating this program to do so? Well, these are just some of the ways that I think you're already all aware of, right? FTD, there is no cure for FTD. There are no currently approved treatments for FTD. It can take over 3.5 years to receive an accurate diagnosis. It can impact a much younger population, right? Primarily impacting those in their 40s to 60s. Of course, still impacting younger and older. And we are, of course, in a sea of Alzheimer's, right? A lot of talk about Alzheimer's or dementia, and so we are advocating to differentiate ourselves and speak up and speak out about FTD. Increasing awareness, obviously public awareness of FTD, increasing the funding for research, the growth of the state-supported services that are out there already, and then of caregiving support and services. Whoops, I think I went too far. So, another term, grassroots advocacy. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with what grassroots means, so I just wanted to take a little moment to explain kind of what we're trying to do here. So, here at AFTD as an organization, we can advocate to policymakers and legislators, and we can talk to them till, we're blue in the face, right? And it will make somewhat of a difference, but to really make some real waves and real change, we need all of you to act as our grassroots advocates and help us build this advocacy movement across the country. So grassroots advocacy really is that infrastructure, right? The basic source of support from the ground up. So we're talking about everyone, the boots on the ground, creating somewhat of an army, right? That's going to be out there fighting the good fight and creating all this awareness with us as well. Organizing, mobilizing, engaging all of you to advocate for yourselves and, of course, for FTD, and providing you the tools to do that. Collective voices are way more powerful, right? Empowered together, we will work to end FTD. So we need everyone talking about this and out there. And I know hearing politics can be somewhat, probably give you pause, right? So you might want to run the other direction when you hear the term politics these days. But it really does make a difference. It is your privilege and right to meet with your lawmakers, both at the state level, the local level, and certainly the federal level. They are there to legislate on your behalf. They have been elected to represent you and your needs. So forging long-lasting working relationships with legislators, that's part of grassroots. You want to be emailing, calling, et cetera, and building those long-lasting relationships, because if anything, it does require some patience, right? Patience, persistence. And the more an issue is discussed, the more attention it will receive. So we are really trying to build that attention out there, right? We can talk to each other. We need to be talking to basically everyone, anyone that's going to listen, right, about our stories. And speaking of stories, that is, you and your story can make all the difference when it comes to lawmaking, legislating, policymaking. Legislators do want to hear from their constituents, and they want to hear how you're being personally impacted by this disease. Advocacy empowers all of us, again, that empowered together to end FTD, and to speak up for your rights and your needs and your interests. And then, of course, working all together to advance AFTD's mission, as Susan stated. We are all in this together. So how do we advocate? What are the methods by which we can communicate and advocate with these lawmakers and policymakers? Again, it is through relationship building. Most importantly, again, sharing your personal story. Grassroots organizing, so e-advocacy, that's sending emails, that's making a phone call, texts, if that's your preferred method. Visiting them either in your district, in your home, for federal, or going to DC. Letter writing, letters to the editor, op-eds, posting on social media. The most direct form of advocacy is what we call lobbying, and that is when you are meeting with the legislator and you have a specific ask of them to co-sponsor or pass a piece of legislation or a bill. Many of you that I know, at least, at the ambassador level, the volunteers, I know attend advocacy days around the country, right? Attending an advocacy day in your state is a form of lobbying. And again, patience, persistence, persuasion. That's what we're here about. Keep that going. So here at AFTD, we are building the infrastructure to support this advocacy pillar. And of course, that involves hopefully all of you, the boots on the ground. And then as an organization, we are building out an agenda or agendas, a federal agenda, policy agenda, and a state policy agenda, which really will help serve as a guide as we're asking you and giving you the tools to go out there and talk to your legislators. It will serve as a guide for you to be asking what you should be asking for, essentially. What ask are you going to request of them? The focus areas within those agendas we have identified, we do know that we will be focused on research funding, health data collection, infrastructure and training, dementia care and services, and then caregiving. So please, stay tuned. We are currently working on this internally. And once we have those all finalized, we of course will share that with everyone, communicate it out. It will be on our website, and we will be galvanizing and mobilizing all of you to help support those agendas. The easiest way for you to get involved as an advocate is to sign up on our Action Center. You can see the URL here, the aftd.org/get-involved/advocate. You can also visit the volunteer table out there in the hallway. There is a sign-up sheet to sign up in general for more information on volunteering. If you are specifically interested in being added to our advocacy database, you can note that on the sign-up sheet, and we would be more than happy to add you ourselves. This will allow you, once you are signed up, to stay informed of all the activities that we're really planning, and building out and finalizing and formalizing. You can act on the current issues that are listed on our Action Center, which I will get to in the next couple of slides, and then secure an awareness resolution or a proclamation in your area, which Senator Hinchy did such a lovely job of setting up. She made my job really easy here to talk about the resolutions, which I have a slide on as well, and there's just so much more coming. As I stated, these are the ways that you can currently take action and get involved on our website, on our Action Center. So right now, there is a piece of legislation at the federal level that we have a campaign running on our website to support. The National Alzheimer's Project Act, or NAPA, because in DC we love our acronyms. Reauthorization. So this is a piece of legislation that was originally passed in 2012. And it's really driving progress in preparing the US for this increase in dementia diagnoses and improving dementia care and services. And FTD is a part of this piece of legislation. It does include FTD as well as other forms of dementia, not just Alzheimer's. It is scheduled or set to sunset, as they say. If a bill sunsets, it will go away, essentially, if it's not reauthorized, which means passed again. So it is up for reauthorization, and it will end in 2025 if we don't move this bill forward. So on our website, it's a really easy way for you to take action and send an email to your federal legislators and ask them to please pass this bill and move it forward. The other option, if you live in New York, so I don't know how many of you are joining us here in the room from New York, but hopefully there's people virtually from New York. This is the bill that Senator Hinchy talked about in her keynote. It is in the Senate. She introduced it, 7874. This is the registry, the FTD registry, which would require healthcare providers and professionals to report the diagnoses of FTD to the Department of Public Health in New York. We are working very closely with Senator Hinchy's office on supporting this bill and hopefully, getting it passed or moved over to, there is a companion bill that has now been introduced in the Assembly. So we've got a Senate bill and an Assembly bill that say the same thing. So they are working in tandem, and we are working to support that. So again, if you are from New York and you want to visit our website, the website is very easy in automatically matching you based on your address. So you type in your first name, last name, your mailing address, and that on the back end will match you up with who your legislators are. So if you're not even aware of who your state legislators or your federal legislators are, it does match you up with those individuals and then allows you to send a pretty seamless email. We provide a template. You can adjust the language if you want and to personalize it and send, click submit, and it goes right into the inbox of that legislator. The awareness efforts. We have two ways in which you can help us spread awareness with your legislators or policymakers in your states or cities or towns. So we have a resolution. Senator Hinchey again, thank you, Senator Hinchey, talked about the resolution in New York and how she introduced the first ever FTD awareness resolution in the state of New York. We are supporting you all to feel empowered to go to your lawmakers in your states and ask them to be a sponsor of a resolution bill. Or you could also put in for a proclamation in your state, city, or town. The difference between resolutions and proclamations, the most simplest difference is that a resolution does require a piece of legislation. It goes through the legislative process. So you need a sponsor of the bill, and it needs to be voted upon and passed through both houses, whereas a proclamation is much more clerical and oftentimes can be filled out online. You can fill out a form and submit it to your governor or your local elected officials to say, we would love to proclaim September 22nd through the 29th of 2024, that week, as FTD Awareness Week in XYZ city, state, town. And we do have we have a resolution toolkit and a proclamation toolkit, both of which can be found on our website on the Advocacy Action Center page. We also have copies printed of the resolution toolkit with us. We unfortunately didn't have enough time to print the proclamation toolkits, but they are on the website as well, and encourage all of you to get involved in this way. It's a great way to spread awareness and get involved with advocacy, and a nice sort of introduction, I would say, to advocating and advocacy. We will have an advocacy breakout at 2 p.m., and we will go over the do's and don'ts of how to meet with your legislators face-to-face. It will be interactive. I think it will be fun, so I encourage you to please join us at 2 p.m. for that breakout session to learn more. And with that, I think I have the honor of taking us all into lunch. So this concludes our session. Thank you all for being here. Again, thank you to those of you joining us virtually. Before we break, I do have a few quick notes. In-person attendees, you may pick up and have your lunch, enjoy your lunch right next door. So go out here and to the right in the Imperial Ballroom East. You can use the map on page 8 of your conference booklet as a reference. Feel free to eat your lunch wherever you are most comfortable. And also be sure to visit the exhibitor booths in the hallway outside for additional information and resources. The second half of our conference will begin at 1 o'clock Central Time with the first of 2 breakout sessions. In-person breakouts will be held either here in the Imperial Ballroom or in one of the Arboretum rooms on the second floor of the hotel. Again, please use your map on page 8 in your program booklet to guide your way, or ask any of the AFTD staff wearing the teal lanyards for directions. After the 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock breakout sessions, all in-person attendees will reconvene here in the Imperial Ballroom at 3 p.m. Central. For those of you joining us virtually, our breakout sessions will begin in 1 hour. And before we adjourn to enjoy lunch, I'd like to share a message from our platinum level sponsor, Prevail Therapeutics.
At Prevail, we're pioneering gene therapies to target the root cause of frontotemporal dementia. The PROCLAIM trial is our commitment to finding a life-changing treatment. At ADPD, we shared early trial results, setting the stage for our next steps. enrolling more patients, and expanding our data to chart a new course in FTD care. Find out more about Proclaim at the Prevail booth.